Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I begin in the name of the God whose mercy is profound, whose kindness is forever. We are now studying verbs. I mentioned the fact that in Arabic there are only two categories of verbs, past tense and present and future, called mudari. We have already done mazi, the past tense. Now we will today get introduced to fi'l mudari, which is the present and the future tense. The two are the same. That is, there are no different categories of words for them. We will have to identify in a certain text as to whether a certain verb has been used for the purpose of present tense or the future tense. But as far as their identity is concerned, they are categorized as one form, one category. Now let's look at these fi'l mudari as we have been doing in the case of madi and pronouns. We'll first go for the metrics, gardan. We start with wahid, which is singular, and tathniya, which is somewhat unique in Arabic for two, and then we have jama for plural. We have muzakkar, masculine, muannas, feminine, and we have this third person, ghaib. So let's do it first. Let's take daraba, he beat up, which is mazi, and do its mudari. Mudari of daraba is yadribu. There is an addition of ya towards the beginning. There is jazm on ra, and then followed by ra, which has kasra, zir, followed by ba, which has a pesh, dhamma. Yadribu, he is beating up, or he will beat up. For two, it's yadribani. They are beating up, or they will beat up. They being third person, ghaib. Yadriba, yadribu, yadribani. For plural, it's yadribuna. They are beating up, or they will beat up, which is for more than two. For singular feminine is tadribu. She is beating up, or she will beat up. For two, it's tadribani. The two of them are beating up, and if many of them are beating up, more than two, it's yadribna. Yadribna. That is for the third person. Now we move on to second person. It's muzakkar, masculine, and muannas, feminine, and this is for second person. which is hadir. Now, in case of singular masculine second person, the verb is going to be exactly the same as it is for singular feminine third person. Tadribu, tadribu. You do not have anything to distinguish between the two as far as their appearance is concerned. But of course, when it comes to their usage in a text, you would in most cases be able to identify as to whether it is third person feminine singular or second person masculine singular. However, there could sometimes be difficulty, or call it difference of opinion. Like there is a famous difference of opinion in the Quran, wherein there is one popular interpretation of a well-known verse, but there is another interpretation which is also pretty strong as far as its arguments are concerned, and that is in Suratul Fil, wherein the Almighty says, Tarmihim bihijaratim min sijil. Now, tarmi, as you can see, tadribu is fail mudari, and the famous translation of it is that they would throw pebbles, they being the birds. But there is another understanding which says, you were the ones who were throwing. Don't ask this question right now as to why is it that fail mudari, which is for present and future, is being used for past. That's a separate matter. I'll come to it later. But the fact of the matter is that the verb used is mudari, and this tadribu form is common to both possibilities, singular third person feminine and singular second person masculine. Tadribu, tadribani likewise is common, like in the case of third person feminine, and when it is for jama, it's for plural, it's tadribuna. In the case of singular feminine second person, it's tadribina. You lady, you are beating up or will beat up. Tadribina. Tadribani. Again, the very same word, but with another possible meaning. So, tadribani, tadribani, tadribani is repeated. It's there 3 times. Tadribina, tadribani, tadribna. I hope you know that out of sheer laziness that I sometimes don't put on these 2 dots clearly. They are dots. Tadribna. Now we come to first person, which is mutakallim, and because there is no distinction between feminine and masculine gender as far as words are concerned in first person, we don't go for that mention, and therefore it's just one possibility for both. Adribu. Adribu means I am beating up or I will beat up. And for 2 and more, tathniya and jama, it's the same. Nadribu. We are beating up or we shall beat up. That completes the 14 possible verbs in the category of fail mudari, which is the other possibility of fail in Arabic language. There's no There's no shortcut to memorizing it. It has to be just memorized whatever way suits you. Obviously, by repeating it over and over again, you get to know what the verb actually means. But obviously, to begin with, as beginners, it's a simple way of repeating it over and over again in a manner that it just gets stuck in your mind and you are able to memorize it. But the important thing, obviously, is that we should be able to understand the meanings of a verb just by looking at its form, its appearance. And that obviously has to do with exercise. Yadribu, he beat up. Yadribani, Yadribu, he is beating up. Yadribani, they, the two are beating up. Yadribuna, they, many of them, more than two are beating up. Tadribu, she is beating up. Tadribani, the two of them are beating up. Yadribna, many of them are beating up. Tadribu, you are beating up. Tadribani, the two of you are beating up. Tadribuna, the many of you are beating up. Tadribina, you lady are beating up. Tadribani, the two of you are beating up. Tadribna, many of you are beating up. Adribu, I am beating up. Nadribu, we are beating up. Obviously, likewise, we will do it for the future. Now, in order for us to be able to have more practice of it, let's take another verb and try to do the mudari of it like we have done the mudari of Daraba Yadribu. Fataha is the Madi, past tense of the verb, which really means he opened. Yaftahu is the mudari of it. He is opening. Now, there is a slight difference between yaftahu and yadribu, whereas in the third letter over here, there is a zair, a kasra. The third letter over here, there is a fatha, zabr. And therefore, you will need to be a little careful while trying to read out all the 14 possibilities of yaftahu when we place it here. The rest of it is absolutely the same. So let's give it a try. Yaftahu, he is opening up. He is opening. Yaftahani, the two of them are opening. Now, it's not yaftihani, it's yaftahani. Yaftahuna, they, many of them are opening. Taftahu, she is opening. Taftahani, the two of them ladies are opening. Yaftahna, many of them ladies are opening. Taftahu, you are opening. That is, you male. Taftahani, you too are opening. Taftahuna, you, many of you are opening. Taftahina, you lady are opening. Taftahani, the two of you are opening. Taftahna, the many of you are opening. Aftahu, I am opening. Naftahu, we are opening. Obviously, you can do likewise for future, using exactly the same verbs, but meaning by those verbs the future tense. I will open, we will open, and so on. This obviously is something which, with the passage of time, with more and more practice, will make you master the understanding of it. And obviously the idea is that when you are going through the Quranic text, you know what form and category of verb there is that you are dealing with and what exactly could be its meanings. Let's do another exercise. Let's go for Nasara. Nasara means he helped its mudare is yansuru. He is helping. Now again notice that in this third letter you have a dhamma. Here it was a fatha. There it's a kasra. So these are the tiny things that we need to be always conscious of. Otherwise, once we have this matrix of the gardan of fail mudare, any verb, if you want to have the 14 possibilities of fail mudare, we'll just put them there in the first box and move on to the next, changing them, altering them exactly the same way as you alter yadribu, and you will get the right results. The only thing that you've got to be aware of is that in the case of the third letter of yadribu, that is ra, sometimes it's going to be zair like here, sometimes it's going to be zabar, that is fatha, like in the case of yaftahu, and sometimes it's going to be yansuru, dhamma, pesh. No fourth possibility, thankfully. So let's give it a try. Yansuru, yansurani, yansuruna. Tansuru, tansurani, yansurna. Tansuru, tansurani, tansuruna, tansurina, tansurani, tansurna, ansuru, nansuru. So, as I said, the more practice you do, the more you are going to be able to master. Memory obviously plays an important role in helping understand a language, but then memory has to be supported, has to be supplemented by understanding, and we need to practice both aspects of the language simultaneously. So let's now move on to certain verbs which we would not pick now from in the sequence that we have been doing before, but we'll randomly come up with some verbs and find out what their meanings could be. So let's go for this, for example. Nasma'u. Sami'a is the past. He heard. Yasma'u is mudare, present and future. We are saying nasma'u. What could it mean? Obviously, the first step is to find out which box does it fit into, which part exactly of the matrix does it belong. And we know quite clearly that it's like nadribu, it's nasma'u. And what it would therefore mean is that I am hearing, or sorry, we are hearing. It's mudare and plural, first person plural. We are hearing, or we will hear. Now, what we have done is that we have used our understanding of this gardan, we have placed it at the right location, and the end result is simple, and it helps in knowing the meanings without any difficulty. Now, if I say that likewise we move on to another verb, qatala, and the mudare of it is yaqtulu, and I want you to tell me that we want the appropriate, correct Arabic word to express the meanings that they, that is, many men who are not present, are going to kill. Many men are going to kill. It's a future tense, and therefore it has to be mudare. So when we are talking about men, we're talking about muzakkar, masculine. When we are talking about them, we're talking about third person. So it's here. It's not this one, it's this one. And when we are talking about many of them, we're talking about plural. So many of them are going to beat up is yadribuna. Many of them are going to kill is going to be yaqtuluna. You keep adding to your vocabulary new verbs, and you just need to know one of them, which probably is more likely to be the first one of them all, that is singular, masculine, third person. And in the process, you would know the entire family, all 14 of them. That's the beauty of it. That's how it helps us in learning and understanding Arabic and its verb in particular quite comfortably. We move on to another example. Quite often in the Quran, we find that there is this verb, shakara. He was thankful. He was thankful. Or he thanked. Now let's not forget the past tense, madi. So if I was to ask you that shakara is he thanked, you want to say, I thanked. So what is going to be the appropriate verb? I thanked. It's in the past. This one is not going to be relevant, but then you've already done the other one, the past tense fail madi, and you would know that, shakara, shakara, shakaru, shakarat, shakarata, shakarna, shakarta, shakartuma, shakartum, shakarti, shakartuma, shakartunna, shakartu, shakarna. So I thanked is shakartu, which is not here, obviously, which is there, hopefully, in your memory, because we've already done the past. So shakara, he thanked. Shakartu, I thanked. And now let's move on to the mudari of it. Shakara, yashkuru. Yashkuru, he will thank. He is thanking, or he will thank. Now, if we were to say that, oh, you lady, you will thank. You are going to thank. What is going to be the appropriate verb for it? You is second person. We're talking about muannas feminine, and it's singular, tadribina. Instead of this, put this one there, and it's tashkurina. Tadribina, tashkurina. Mind you, don't forget that it has a dhamma pesh, and you've got to replace the kasra zair with pesh, and the rest is very simple. Probably it's not a bad idea that while we have done the gardan of a verb with a kasra in its third letter, you also do the practice of gardan of verbs which have fatha, zabr, and in their third letters, as well as dhamma, pesh, in their third letters. That is going to make you read more swiftly. We become more fluent. It just flows, and you become more familiar with new verbs. I tell you, the best way of learning, grasping, and understanding more fully the Arabic language that we are doing is to read the Quran in a way that you are trying to understand the meanings of it. And you would find very often that there are fail madi as well as mudare, which are being employed by the Quran to convey the sense that obviously is needed to be conveyed. But you will have many challenges as well, because obviously the Quran is not primarily a book teaching Arabic grammar. It's God's word, and there are many different aspects, changes that you will find to be there in the Quranic text. Some of them simpler and therefore easier for you to understand, and some others which may not be quite as immediately understandable because of the limited understanding that we have developed as yet. That's how we learn more and more. We learn the basics to begin with, and then we apply those basics to the text that we want to understand. And while going through the process of understanding the text, we find difficulties, we find questions which remain unanswered, and therefore we explore and try to find out the reasons why the unanswered questions are not as yet clear to us. And obviously there are reasons. The reason is that the language, when we understand it from the beginning, we understand the simpler aspects of it, and with the passage of time, those simpler aspects have more complexities, details that get added to them, and our understanding becomes better and better. And obviously it's these challenges while reading the text that we become more involved in the process of learning, and obviously language continues to become, well, complex, a little more detailed, and obviously therefore more challenging and exciting. So the last session and this session put together, we have completed the simple understanding of verb, which is it's either madi, past tense, or mudare, present and future tense. The two have distinct forms, appearances, 14 in each case, and once we know what those 14 each cases of the two verbs are, we will be able to identify verbs more clearly, and understand them. And with the passage of time and with more practice, we will obviously be able to, without any difficulty, understand what really is written in the Quranic text, and when it's recited, it really is going to get directly into us. We will capture the meaning and grasp it fully. And that is what the whole idea of doing this exercise is all about. May the Almighty enable us to understand the Quran directly, properly, and fully, and may the Almighty enable us to practice it as best as we can.